Hello, and welcome to Breast Cancer Conversations, a podcast brought to you by SurvivingBreastCancer.org. I am Laura Carfing, breast cancer survivor and founder of SurvivingBreastCancer.org, a nonprofit organization providing community, education, and resources to empower those diagnosed with breast cancer and their caregivers from day one and beyond. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Breast Cancer Conversations. It is so nice to be speaking with all of you today. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome. It's so nice to have you here. Please be sure to subscribe. We release our podcast once a week, usually on Mondays, so you can always have something to look forward to as we begin our week together. Before we jump into today's conversation, I just want to give a quick shout out to all of the great, amazing resources we have on our website, SurvivingBreastCancer.org. All of our podcast listeners are invited to join us on Thursday nights for our Thursday Night Thrivers meetup. We meet on Zoom every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern. You can RSVP from our website, and a Zoom link will be emailed to you. We also send out weekly newsletters on Mondays and Fridays. We have an every other Sunday metastatic breast cancer series that we produce, as well as a once a month breast cancer book club that we host. The best part about the book club is that we don't read any books that have to do with cancer. It's pure escapism, a lot of fun, and we meet on the first Sunday of every month. You can check out what book we're reading, again, on our website. Today on the podcast, we are speaking with Karla, who is not new to Breast Cancer Conversations. She actually provided us with a beautiful 45-minute long episode where she shares with us everything she knows with regards to nutrition, education around clean eating, and living with metastatic breast cancer. So I'll link to that full episode below, but I wanted to pull out a short excerpt from that longer series because we want to focus on phytoestrogens. If our breast cancer is ER positive, it can be very confusing to understand if we should be avoiding soy, eating soy products, avoiding phytoestrogens, etc. I am so excited to have Karla back on the episode to help us answer some of these questions. Welcome to the conversation.
Now let's talk about phytoestrogens and breast cancer. And Laura and I talked a little bit about this ahead of time, and I do like to share this information, and it is controversial. But there are studies that show, of course, you'll always find on any topic, study that's for and a study that's against. But phytoestrogens are plant-based compounds that mimic estrogen because their chemical structure is very similar to that of estrogen from the body. They have been found to be beneficial in combating symptoms and conditions caused by estrogen deficiency. So this may be of particular benefit to pre- and postmenopausal women who are having their hot flashes. Phytoestrogens may also play a role in fighting cancer. However, it's still controversial and more research is absolutely needed to understand this. Unfortunately, they don't spend a lot of time and money on researching something that can't be patented, but there we are. There are studies that have revealed that high consumption of soy products is associated with low incidences of hormone-dependent cancers, including breast and prostate. Soybeans contain large amounts of isoflavones. Previously, it's been demonstrated that genistein, one of the predominant soy isoflavones, can inhibit several steps involved in carcinogenesis. So basically, it can inhibit the development of cancer. It is suggested that genistein possesses mechanisms of action, including inhibition and modulation of different signaling pathways associated with the growth of cancer cells. Moreover, genistein is also a potent inhibitor of angiogenesis. Uncontrolled angiogenesis is considered a key step in cancer growth, invasion, and metastasis. I see Dr. Keith Block of the Block Center for Integrative Cancer Treatment in the Chicago area. And I've talked to Dr. Block many times about soy and breast cancer and phytoestrogens and breast cancer. Dr. Block has told me that processed soy foods, such as soy burgers, typically contain very low amounts of that genistein, and other soy items such as miso and soy sauce contain even less. In fact, he says a whole bottle of soy sauce contains only about 6 or 7 milligrams of isoflavones, which would have no effect at all on breast cells, though it would be quite a lot of salt. So Dr. Block counsels that there's no need to pass on the tofu or the tempeh, so long as you're eating soy foods in moderation, just like anything else. And be sure your soy is non-GMO. Dr. Block also stated in a 2016 article that he wrote, he stated that I can send you guys the link later to Dr. Block's site for all these soy articles he's written, but he stated that in 2016, the studies suggested that eating moderate amounts of soy foods is safe for breast cancer survivors. In fact, in studies conducted by Dr. Anna H. Wu and others at the University of Southern California showed that women who consume approximately 1 to 2 servings of soy food each day, not isolated soy supplements, you want to avoid those, but if you eat soy food each day, you actually have a reduced risk of breast cancer recurrence or of being diagnosed with the disease. And moreover, these studies, there were 3 studies in China and 2 in the US that provided further evidence that women who ate more soy had better survival after breast cancer diagnoses than those who ate the least soy.
Karla, as always, this has been so helpful. I am definitely going to look on PubMed, and I will link to some of these studies in the show notes below so that our readers and listeners will have access to this information. Thank you again for everything that you do for our breast cancer community. It's always a pleasure having you on the podcast. Thank you for tuning in and listening to our podcast. If you would like to find out more about our organization and upcoming events and ways to connect, you can find out more by visiting our website at survivingbreastcancer.org. I would like to acknowledge that all of the information on our podcast is from personal experiences, and it is not a substitute for professional medical advice. You should always consult your medical care team. If you're looking for specific topics or would like to be a guest on our show, feel free to contact me directly at laura@survivingbreastcancer.org. And of course, we have a couple social media handles you can follow us at as well. For example, Surviving Breast Cancer Org, all one word, as well as our podcast specifically, Breast Cancer Conversations. Until next time, keep on thriving.